Hello and welcome to Amazons et al. On Trust TV with me, Aisha Umar Yusuf. Our guest made headlines when her elevation to national office met with stiff opposition. It generated a heated gender debate. At the end, she scaled through and did her work excellently. I'm sure you can't wait to know who she is. So join us after this short break and get to meet her. Yeah, welcome to the program, Dr. Asmau Sani Maikudi. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me on board. It's my pleasure to be here.
You have been a lecturer and a school administrator for long, but long before all these big jobs. That was the little Asmau growing up somewhere. Can you tell us more about her?
Yes, I was born in Malumfashi local government of Katsina State, Malumfashi town, and I started my schooling in Malumfashi. But my father was a technocrat, and because of that, he was moving from one place to another. And so I had the pleasure and the privilege of having gone to school in Kaduna, in Zaria, in Funtua, and finally I did my primary school from where I moved to my secondary school in Kaduna at St. Anne's Primary School. And then in Kaduna, I did my secondary school there, Government Girls Secondary School, Kawu, Kaduna, from 1973 to 1978. From there, I moved to what was then called the Katsina College of Arts, Science and Technology, now currently called Nuhu Bamalli Polytechnic. I did my A-levels there. I finished in 1980, and then I moved to ABU Zaria, where I read history as a first degree. And I also had the privilege of having the late Dr. Bala Usman, Professor Abubakar Gire, etc., who advised us to have another course that will make ourselves more marketable. So because of that, I did what we call the graduate certificate in education alongside my first degree. So I graduated in 1983 with my first degree, the BA, History, and a graduate certificate in education. Then in between, while I was in ABU in my part 1, I got married. And I had my first child in 1983 when I was about to graduate. And after graduation, I started teaching. Before then, I did my NYSC at Government Girls Day Secondary School, Tafawa Balewa Way in Kaduna. Then when I finished the NYSC, I continued there as a teacher. And then with the creation of Katsina State, we were redeployed to Katsina State, myself and my husband, because we are from Katsina State. And I was first posted to WTC Katsina. And then later on, I was made the principal of the Government Day Girls Secondary School, Mani. And then the governor was Abdullah Sarki Mukhtar. I think he was a colonel then. And when he came on a tour to visit the schools, one of the requests we made was for the school to be turned into a boarding school. And Alhamdulillah, he granted the request and declared that the school would then be a boarding school, and then it was turned into a boarding school. Then from there, I was moved to the Unity Girls Secondary School in Jibia. I think it's the only one that is girls, and then the boys is in Malumfashi, Unity Secondary Schools. While there, my husband moved back to Kaduna, and he set up his firm. He's a quantity surveyor. And I had to move back to Kaduna with him. So I came and I became a lecturer in Kaduna Polytechnic. I started from lecturer 2, and gradually rose to the position of a chief lecturer, which is the highest in a polytechnic system. It's like the professor in the university. So I rose to become the chief lecturer there. And in between, I had the privilege of having some administrative jobs. I was the exams officer of the Social Sciences Department, which is a servicing department. We service all the departments in the Polytechnic. I rose to become the head of department of the Social Sciences Department. Later on, I was made the director, College of Arts, Science and Technology, which made me the only female director in Kaduna Polytechnic then, and the first female director of the college. And In between, while I was still there, I was made a non-executive director of Enterprise Bank. It was a position I held for 4 years, but it was non-executive, and that was also the period when I joined the Red Cross, the Nigerian Red Cross, as a volunteer. And while I was still with Kaduna Polytechnic, and I'm also a member of professional bodies, like I'm a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Management, a fellow of the Corporate Administrators of Nigeria, and a member of the governing board, Hassan Usman Katsina Polytechnic, and currently I'm still a member of the New Nigerian Development Company in Kaduna.
That's quite a resume. So I'm amazed, I'm amazed that your nomination as a resident electoral commissioner met with some stiff opposition. Do you know why that happened?
Honestly, Aisha, I really don't know. Up to now, like 4 years down the drain, I really can't say this is why there was that stiff opposition. But as a Muslim, I believe that things happen to you in life that are already predestined for you by Allah. So I just take it in my stride, and Alhamdulillah, it has come to pass. And I'm still the resident electoral commissioner. I was in Zamfara for 4 years, 1 month, and I'm currently in Kaduna as the REC. I thank Allah for that. And those who were against the nomination, for whatever reason, I've forgiven them, and I have proceeded with my life.
Do you have an idea who they were? I mean, do you know them?
No, Aisha.
You never knew the identity?
No,
you just knew that some people were hell-bent on making sure you are not an INEC commissioner.
Yes, that I know, but I really don't know the reasons or who the people were. I was not interested in knowing who they were, because I believe that if Allah said I will be, I will be. And if Allah said I will not be, then I will not be. So I just left it in the hands of Allah.
So getting married at 18 obviously meant having to combine studies with keeping a home and maybe even raising children. How did you juggle that?
I got married at 18 while I was in Part 1 in ABU, and Alhamdulillah, through the support of a very, very supportive husband. I have now my PhD, which I completed in the year 2000 from the University of Abuja, 2008, sorry, from the University of Abuja. So I think the home environment really helped. My husband was there for me throughout my academic endeavors. He's a believer in girl-child education, and I want to inform you now that as I'm speaking with you, he's in the process of building the largest purely girl-child school in Katsina State. It's promising to be the largest and the biggest. So the support was from the home. Once you have a support from the home, from your family, I think you are good to go. And I have the passion for education. I have the passion to become a professor. I still wish I will be a professor, and I'm going to work towards that, inshallah.
I wish you all the best.
Thank
you.
One
of the primary schools you attended got renamed after you. What led to this honor? What do you think?
I really can't say this is specifically what led to that honor, because I just got a phone call from the SA of the governor, Honorable Aminu Bello Masari, that the school I first attended, I started my school career there, my school life there, that it is to be renamed after me. I was very happy. I was glad. I didn't ask why, I was just too excited. But I guess...
Is it not that as an ex-pupil, maybe you are contributing to the school, you are doing something extra that stood you out from the others?
I think that is what also helped, because as an ex-student, like you rightly pointed out, and being somebody who has a passion for education, and it's a girl-specific school, I continue to contribute the little that I can. I made sure that students who are there are retained, because
you mean it was a primary school purely for girls?
Initially, it's just a combined school. When I went to the school, it was a combined school. But when it was renamed after me, it was turned into a purely girls-specific school. So anytime I have time, I'll go in and I will teach the students, just pro bono. I love teaching. And anytime I have anything that I could give, as part of my own corporate social responsibility, let's call it that way, I contributed to the school. I think that's what made the governor to look at what I've been doing into the school on my own, and then made him to rename the school after me.
That's very nice. So one of the problems bedeviling us in Nigeria as a whole, but particularly in the north, is this problem of a falling standard of education. As a teacher, a lecturer, a school administrator, do you think there are some ways we can target this problem and then solve it?
I think we can solve it, Aisha. I think the first thing is for a serious government policy. The national policy of education is already outdated.
Yes.
It's already outdated. We have to be more realistic in lines with global best practices and what is happening in the global world today towards education. That is one. So we need to look at our national policy of education and review it. You know, that's one. Secondly, we need government to come out with a policy making education compulsory at the primary free and completely free,
yes,
you know, at the primary level and at the secondary level. And then parents who refuse to take their children to school should be, you know, there should be a punitive measure against such parents. Once we have all our children in school, right now we have how many? Over 10 million that are out of school. 10 million is a lot. 10 million is much more than the population of so many West African countries. In fact, African countries, we cannot afford to have over 10 million of our youth, of our children out of school. So government has to come out with a policy.
But I thought we already have the policy. I think the Obasanjo administration made UBEC, what do you call it? Primary to first 3 years of secondary compulsory.
The policy is different from implementation. The policy is there, but is it implemented? We need a monitoring and evaluation mechanism to make sure that every state, every parent is abiding by that law. And we need to show examples to parents who refuse to take their children to school.
So it has to be enforced.
It has to be enforced.
Okay, that's good. So why were you made the chair of the Red Cross in Kaduna? It seems like a bolt out of the blue, given, I mean, you have this strictly academic background and then suddenly you are into something extracurricular.
You know, like I told you earlier about the school that is renamed after me, I believe in corporate social responsibility. It doesn't have to be, you know, from a company or from a large institution. So I have this passion for helping, you know, philanthropy. And I registered in the Red Cross as a volunteer. And then later on, they made me the vice chairman. Then the chairman was a justice, you know. And then later on, when his tenure ended, he said he was no longer interested. And actually, he was transferred to Jos. And then they made me the chairman. So I have this passion for helping, and the only way then I felt, aside what I am doing personally, is to join the Red Cross. And I'm happy to inform you, Aisha, that during the post-election violence of 2011, the Nigerian Red Cross really assisted massively to the IDPs. The IDPs were brought to the then Hajj camp in Kaduna, and the Red Cross was there all over the place. We assisted, the videos, the recordings, and everything. In fact, we have a book on that from the Nigerian Red Cross. So it was something, I was doing what I really wanted to do. And I think I'll continue to do that even after my stint with the INEC and being an academic.
Yeah, but I'm still interested. I asked you earlier on how you coped with studies and keeping a home. And, you know, this is a problem young women often confront, especially those who married while they were still students or early as soon as they graduated. There's always this issue of how to juggle the home and the career aspect or studies aspect. Now, I want to know what your blueprint is, because obviously you do that so well. You have time for extra, I mean, community conscious, like what you call your social responsibility. How do you juggle that to find enough time?
Aisha, if you remember, I said it's all from the home environment. I had a very, very supportive husband. I had the husband that, a husband that will see what you are interested in, and then he will key into what you are interested in, and he will make you achieve your dreams.
Does that mean leaving him with the children? Something like that?
No. Even when I was, you know, I married him while I was in ABU in my part 1. You know, by the time I finished, that was when I had my first baby. But when I did my master's in the University of Abuja and my PhD, you know, master's and PhD is not a full-time course, you know. But he is not the sort of person that is fussy about who serves him his food, like some men are. You know, he doesn't, as long as there is food, you know, he doesn't care who cooks it and who is serving it to him. You know, he's very, very liberal and very, very nice, and a very good husband.
Oh, how nice. You are very lucky. So your client in Malumfashi, Katsina State, recently launched a book documenting its history, and it was well publicized. I wonder, what is the significance of that endeavor? You know?
You see, culture and tradition are very important in our lives, and it's good for the youth to know where they are coming from and who are their
ancestors.
Well, yeah, ancestors, and then people in the family who have achieved so many things in life. It's like being role models. It's like aspiring to be somebody, you know. So when you have something documented about your history, your lineage, from your great-grandfather, like the book is from as far back as the 17th century. My family dates back to the 17th century, you know, and right during the time of Usman Danfodio, they were very, very important then, and, you know, Danfodio also gave them a flag. So it's good for our children, you know, to know that this is a family that has its history and you should not mess up. It's like character building, character formation, and then you look forward to being somebody that is also a member of the family or somebody who has achieved something in life. You also aspire to be that person or to aspire to do something better. And Alhamdulillah, the family has spread. You know, we are also in Kano. We have our family roots in Bichi also. Some of our family members are in Bichi, while we are in Malumfashi, and we are all over the Federation.
Why is it Galadima in particular? Why not, because the Galadima is the one who is the district head of Malumfashi. Why not any other title? Why? What's the significance of
the Galadima? That's the traditional title that was given to them, right from, I can't really remember from which of the emirs in Katsina Emirate, but it's important to also note that the Galadima is one of the 4 kingmakers of Katsina. If he dissents, the person cannot be chosen as an emir, because he's that strong and powerful. So 4 of them will sit down and submit a list of 3 names to the governor, and then the governor will choose one of the 3 names. But if the Galadima says no, then they have to sit down and go back and then decide on the 3 names to submit. He's that strong and powerful.
Wow, that's good. So I know you're a mother, a grandmother, and a lot of other things beside on the society. Tell me more about your children. Any of them following in your footsteps?
Yes, Alhamdulillah, my first child is now a professor of international law. She's the director, Center for International Studies of the University of Abuja. So she has followed my academic line. I have a son who is the second born, who is a chartered accountant. He's with the Federal Ministry of Finance. I have another one who is with the TED Fund. He's the PA to the ES there. My daughter is in the same TED Fund. She is with the Research and Development team, you know, and you know, every nation cannot develop without research and development. We need science and technology. So my daughter is there. Then I have one who is an undergraduate, and I unfortunately lost a son. So that has taken care of the 5. They were 6, but now they are 5.
That means that you had 3 boys and 3 girls?
Yes, I had 3 boys and 3 girls. Now I have 2 boys and 3 girls. One of my sons was is no more with us.
I'm sorry about that. I'm talking about his loss. Can you tell us your coping mechanisms? You know, parents often go through this, and then you wonder how they manage it. What was it like losing a son in his prime and then having to, you know, to stabilize somehow? How did you manage it?
It is very painful, let me say that, Aisha, and you never really get over it. You never really get over it.
How old was he?
When he died, he was 21.
I see.
And you know, he was a student. He just came for holidays. He was supposed to go back, and then he requested that he wants to do the Ramadan, the Eid. It was a Ramadan period, and so his ticket was, you know, we opened the ticket up and added 7 days. Little did we know that that was the last holiday he'll have with us.
I'm sorry about it.
The only thing I can say as a coping mechanism, Aisha, is always to remember Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. God that created us will also make us go. Every one of us, anything, any living thing has a time, and we are all going to go. So when you think about it, then you remember that Allah that created you did not tell you when he's going to take your life. And then Allah that gave you your children did not also tell you when he was going to give you the children or when he's going to take them away. What you accept death when it comes.
Yes.
But the painful thing is how a person dies. And so my heart goes to people who have lost sons, daughters, parents. You know, I've also lost my mom, I've lost my dad.
Yes,
it's both painful, but not as painful as that of my son because of the nature of the way he died. You know, but you always go back to God. Yes, it's more traumatic.
Yes,
but you always go back to God, you go back to Allah, you accept it as the destiny of the child, and then you as the parent, that is how Allah has willed it.
Yes,
and then you continue living until your time comes up.
That's true. It's true. Yes, I'm sorry about that. So you are now an electoral umpire by virtue of your job as a REC, Resident Electoral Commissioner.
Yes.
Any political ambitions in the future?
No.
Okay.
Not as of now.
Are you running away from the... Do you see politics as something dirty?
No.
Or you just don't have the passion for it?
Politics is not dirty.
Yes.
People make it dirty.
Yes.
Politics is clean, politics is nice, and politics is wonderful.
Yes.
And we know that this is the only way that you can choose your leaders. You can change leaders, you can choose your leaders, and you can participate in the governance of your own country.
Yes.
You know, politics is good. But right now, my attention is how to be a very good umpire. So I have no political ambition right now. It may come one day, I don't know, you know, I can't see into the future.
Yes.
But as of now, I am really not interested in politics, but interested in seeing how INEC can conduct free, fair, credible, and acceptable elections in line with global best practices.
I see. That's a good ambition. Yeah. So your traditional title is Yakumbo Galadima Katsina? Oh, yeah, Galadima Malefash, I forgot.
No,
Yakumbo.
Galadima, yes, the Yakumbo Galadima Katsina.
But Yakumbo is an aunt, right?
Pardon?
It means aunt.
Yes,
Yakumbo.
yes,
So,
it means an aunt.
okay.
Yes, an auntie to so many other nieces and nephews, you know, in the family.
Yes.
And then even in the under the people that are under the Galadima.
Okay.
You know, so that's just what it means, an auntie, a revered auntie.
Okay, but has anybody held the position before you?
No, I'm the first Yakumbu.
And were you formally crowned or turbaned?
Yes, I was formally crowned by the wife of the Galadima because I'm a female.
Okay,
you know, so the wife turbaned us.
Okay,
we had a turban, we had a beautiful ceremony, you know, cultural, and it was really nice.
How many of you were turbaned the same day? How many females?
The Galadima turbaned a lot of people on that day. You know, there were a lot of men, and then there were 7 women, and I was one of the 7.
So let's, it's safe to say the Malumfashi Emirate is gender...
Very gender sensitive. Our current Galadima is very, very gender sensitive. And he has a passion for education, and especially the girl child education. Because this school that I was telling you of, you know, he's always going into the school because the school, incidentally, has been winning all the trophies for Katsina State.
I see.
Even in Abuja, they came up 3rd nationally. They came up 3rd. Yes, in terms of academics.
Okay, I see.
Not in sports or other extracurricular activities.
So I was wondering, okay.
No, not in academics. It came up 3rd nationally, you know. So the Galadima is always there, also assisting them, asking them for any of their challenges and trying to see how he could address the challenges.
I see. So what is your advice for young Nigerian women? I mean, there are so many issues regarding women, girl child education, all the concerns. How do you think they can be addressed? But that is not by the society or the government, but by the young women themselves. What can they do to help themselves?
They should believe in themselves.
Okay.
You know, as girls, our religion has asked us to aspire to be great, you know, and they should not listen to anybody that will tell them anything else. You already, as a woman, God has already endowed you.
Yes.
1, God has already blessed you. It is left for you now to aspire for a dream and achieve that dream. Nobody can do it for you but yourself. Go out, go there, get it, and be what you want to be. Don't allow anybody to tell you anything negative about yourself. You know yourself better.
But there's some things that can be done without the support of fathers, husbands, and the rest.
It all starts from the girl. Honestly, if she has the passion, if she wants to be something, I am sure the parents will key into her ambition. That's why we are where we are, Aisha.
Exactly.
That's why I am what I am, you are what you are. So many hundreds of thousands of millions of women have achieved their dreams because their parents were there for them. And then later in life, their husbands are also there for them. But it starts with the girl herself. That is the foundation. It starts with you. It doesn't start with anybody. It starts with you. You have to have the passion, the interest, and the energy to go after your dream.
Okay. Some of the unfortunate news we've been receiving lately are of young people being kidnapped and killed. I mean, the two or three recent ones, the most painful being the one of Hanifa, the young girl discovered in Kano. And the perpetrators are people known to their victims. I don't know. What do you think we can do to, is it enlighten the parents? How do we, I mean, it's just getting too distressing. How do you think we can address issues of these people, you know, luring young people who know them? Because like the guy confessed, the one who killed Hanifa, he sent two strangers, she refused to go with them. And then when he went, because she knew him as her teacher, she followed him. And most of the other cases we've had, there was the lady who had kidnapped her friend's daughter, and then after a while killed her also after collecting ransom. Usually people whom you know. Yeah. So the thing is, what's your opinion on how we can handle this? I
think, like you already said, Aisha, it's always done by people you know.
Yes.
So who do you trust? If you cannot trust your child's school teacher, you cannot trust your neighbor. Even within the family, we have had instances where within the family, you know, people sell in quotation marks, sell off family members. And then there's the case of an Islamia, you know, an Islamia teacher in Faskari, who sold off the son of his senior brother. Can you believe? You know, so I think I want to place it squarely on our justice system, on the security agents. When such people are caught, honestly, the law should take its due course. If there are punitive actions, when somebody does something, it will serve as a deterrent if you see the punishment done to that person. But a situation whereby after 2 or 3 months, you see that same person on the street, on bail or whatever. Like we had an incident in Zaria. A man, you know, sold off his senior sister to kidnappers because he owes her money. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, after the police had arrested him, this same man was on the streets. The people of that environment had to do a demonstration against the man and the police, and that was when he was held, and then he was taken to court. So the court, the justice system, I think it lies on the justice system, because what else can we do? Our children have to go to school. Exactly. And you can't live on a tree or on an island. You know, you live in a neighborhood and you don't know who to trust and who not to trust. Even in the house, sometimes our house helps. You know, we have had incidences like that. But once the justice system takes care of these people and does what is right, then it will serve as a deterrent to others.
Do you think one preventive measure could be that we'll get our clerics to be talking about this? Like, for instance, some of the people engaged in these things, maybe they don't even see it as sinful. It's just a way of making money. Do you think there is a lapse? I can't help feeling that maybe there is a role religious leaders can play at advocating against this, making people know that these things actually are not ways of making, but they are sinful, criminal ways. I can't help feeling maybe
our clerics have a role to play. Our traditional leaders have a role to play. In fact, everybody, all of us are stakeholders, you know. Even we, the teachers, when we go into the classrooms, we should talk to our students on why it is bad to be engaged in such outrageous behavior. But what do you say? How do you explain the case of Hanifa? He's the proprietor of her school. Exactly. The case of Faskari, he's an Islamic teacher. You know, in the school. He's an Islamic teacher, but like you rightly said, you know, we are all stakeholders, our religious fathers, our royal fathers, our traditional leaders, everybody, teachers, everybody, even the security agents, you know, they should continue talking. Everybody's hands, all hands must be on deck.
It's true. Thank you very much, Dr. Asmau. We are very pleased.
It's my pleasure. It's nice being here. Thank you also for having me on board.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm sure you had a nice time listening to Dr. Asmau Sani Maikudi and her nice life story. Hope you'll be with us again next week to meet another exciting edition of Amazons et al. Until then, it's bye-bye from me.